So I was there, State of the Union, inside the chamber. I saw some things, man. I saw some really creepy, scary things. But that's enough about Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib. It's funny because they're awful. I'm Tony Katz. The show is Tony Katz today. We're live in D.C. Let's go do some radio, folks.
It's Tony Katz today.
All righty, on and up.
Gasoline, which reached a peak of over $6 a gallon in some states under my predecessor, it was quite honestly a disaster, is now below $2.30 a gallon in most states, and in some places, $1.99 a gallon. And when I visited the great state of Iowa just a few weeks ago, I even saw $1.85 a gallon for gasoline.
Good. You want
mortgage rates are the lowest.
I'm sorry, Mr. President. I was talking here. You have to wait your turn. Tony Katz. Tony Katz today. Good to be with you. I am here in Washington, D.C. I was here for the State of the Union, which took place just a few hours ago. It was an hour and 47 minutes. And then there were some conversations afterwards. And then there was very little sleep. As you guys know, I do a morning show as well. But the president did what we asked him to do. Focus on how you win the midterms. Focus on not getting impeached. Do not go after the Supreme Court. Tout the victories and tell everybody how crazy these lefties are. Now, I'll tell you that I didn't expect him to talk about how crazy they are with such ferocity. Oh, I liked it. Don't get me wrong. I'm fine with it. I all good. I just wasn't so much as ready for that hit. But when he brought up the Supreme Court and brought up being disappointed, you could feel it. The room said, "Oh, it's going to get ugly." Because Chief Justice John Roberts was there, and Justice Elena Kagan was there, and Justice Brett Kavanaugh, who he's very happy with, was there, and Justice Amy Coney Barrett was there, whom he is not very happy with, and he just said he was disappointed twice and moved on to the Democrats. And that tariffs are going to stay, and he is creating this great economy, and Democrats aren't helping him, and Democrats are voting against him, and Democrats want tax increases. I was very pleased to see the on message. I don't know if it was him. I don't know if it was the team. What do I know? Man, that made me happy. That he... I joke, he's clearly listening to the show. He's listening to the show, and he understands that we have the right idea and how to approach these things. You have to know that you're behind the eight ball when it comes to the midterms, and you're going to have to do something about that. You're going to have to find a way for things to get better. This was the way. You looked hopeful. You mentioned achievements. You celebrated America. You celebrated great Americans. You want to protect kids, and Democrats want kids to be mutilated, want kids to get harmed by illegal immigrants with commercial driver's license that they got under fraudulent means. The Democrats want to raise taxes, and you got them to say that. I don't know if it gets much better. Now, you say to me, Tony, shouldn't a State of the Union have some like some serious policy initiatives and some serious thoughts to it? Well, this had a couple of serious thoughts to it, but if you ask me if I agree that a State of the Union should have more substance of policy and thought, the answer is yes. But I live in today's world where I've got Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib screaming and yelling throughout the entirety of the proceedings until they walked out. So what do you expect? All you could do is set the stage for everybody else to use in the days, weeks, and months to come, which is exactly what happened here. Now, I'm gonna start with my basic story. I was there in the chamber. I got invited to the State of the Union by Senator Todd Young of Indiana. Really appreciate him and his whole team. They were unbelievably kind. It worked out so incredibly well. Do I have? Oh, I have the invitation. I have the invitation right there of what you get if you're watching the live stream. That was my invitation to be with the House of Representatives, 100 House of Representatives, 119th Congress, and the section that I was in and everything else. I don't. Maybe I can't show that. Nah, you got to be able to show that. It's just a. Well, does it say on there that you can't show this anywhere? No, it does not say that. It says, as a reminder, any disturbance or infraction of the House rules is justification for expulsion from the galleries and arrest. I did absolutely nothing wrong. Thank you very much. You get there and you go through security. And me, I had no problems with security except, hey, what do I do with these cigars? I had like 3 cigars on me and I had matches on me. It was a question of, can you bring matches into the gallery? Right. I had met some people for dinner and then I head over and I'm with the senator's people and whoop right through into one of the there's a path this way and road this way and everything's shut down. Right. Everything's shut down for the State of the Union and into one of the offices and in the office is where I put on my tie. Yes, I put on a tie, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not a tie guy at all. Put on the tie and walked over, and it's groovy, right? And then I was with Senator Young, and he gets to go on the floor because he got elected, and we're like, all right, take it easy, and up to the gallery, and then based on where your section is, different parts of security, okay, because you go through security, and then you go through security, and then there's some security. True story. And so I go through security and I'm like, they're like, okay, and the person's like, okay, what do we do about these cigars? And somebody else said, you got to go drop that off with your phone. You can't bring your phone in. Now members can have their phones, and the amount of members I saw texting, selfieing while President Trump is speaking, it's insane. It's crazy. There outside of Fetterman, I don't think any leftists was paying attention. I mean, I'll say Hakeem Jeffries did not have his phone on him, but he was he looked really small. And I'm not saying he is. I'm not making a joke here, crack here about his height or anything like that. Just the way he was seated, the way he was positioned, he just looked. Yeah, we're gonna lose the news cycle for a couple days. We're gonna lose a little bit of time on this. We're gonna he's gonna. They must have known that some of the things they had decided to do, like a boycott, like 70 different members, House and Senate didn't show. They must have known this wasn't going to be good. Yeah, whatever it was. I don't know. Maybe the man just had a cold, and I'm completely misreading it. But he did. He didn't. He wasn't straight backed, and he wasn't stoic, and all the rest. He looked a little bit like he was getting punched in the face or getting ready to be punched in the face. That's what he looked like. So I have to go and where I dropped off the phone because you can't bring the phone on you. They're like, sure, we'll take the cigars, we'll take the matches. I said, make sure I get those cigars back. And they said, we don't know you. And I said, seriously, that's not cool. And they said, huh? And then I said, all right, I'm assuming they're joking. I went and I go and I realize that out of the whole gallery, I'm sitting behind the president. Oh. A lot of seats and a lot of options and a lot of opportunities, and I am sitting behind the president. So you'll often see, right, if you're staring at it right from your television camera, right, you're looking at the president, and then you'll see above that, you'll usually see members of the press there. And they're lined up in the front row. And can I tell you that they're just jaded? And it's not that it's not that I'm not saying they don't have a job to do, and I don't necessarily want them to have a political position, even though they all do. It's that how can you walk into this room and be jaded? It's it's the Capitol, it's the chamber, it's the State of the Union. My God, our country works like this? It's unbelievable. It is the most unbelievable feeling in the universe. Holy cow. Is that amazing? It's like later that evening, it's close. I don't even know what time it was. And I'm outside, I'm waiting for my ride, and there's the Capitol just shimmering there. It's like, this is how can you not be romantic about it? I'm driving back afterwards. The Capitol is to my left, or we're driving, I forget the street right now. There's the Supreme Court on the right. It's just like, it's awesome. It's unbelievable. It's amazing. It is like nerd Disney. It's the best. So I realize I'm behind the president. So if you were looking directly at the president, I was upper left. So I could not see the president while he was speaking. And the acoustics were not perfect. It's better when you watch it on TV. You hear more when you're on TV. The acoustics are not great. I missed some things. But the way the chamber is split, the Republicans, if you're staring at the president, the Republicans are on the right and the progressives are on the left, which means the progressives were right in front of me. And I was able to get a bird's eye view of speaking, of facial expressions, of motions from today's Democratic Party. Complete view. Who was directly in my line of sight? I mean, if you don't think you're looking straight down, you're looking out, right? You're looking out like over a view or over a vista. I don't know what you call it, whatever you call it. And who is in my line of sight? Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib. Bam! Right there. They are directly like nobody else. Eric Swalwell wasn't there. Bernie Sanders wasn't there. I did with the guy next to me. He was from Virginia. Nice dude. We did play a rousing round of Where's Waldo, the John Fetterman edition. And we did find him, but he was in a suit. So it was a little difficult. There was no hoodie. Then we also spy. I did see Michael Knowles. I didn't get to say hi. He was not too far from me. Saw Michael. And then Mr. Wonderful, Kevin O'Leary. That one I didn't catch until later. That was like we're 3/4 through the speech. I turned to this guy next to me. We don't know each other. I'm like, that's the guy from Shark Tank, isn't it? He had better seats than me. I don't know what that's all about. Do I have to start wearing 2 watches now? Ridiculous. But I have this, like, all right, I'm sad that I can't see the facial expressions, the Trump and everything else, and see how he's gearing up for things and ramping up for things. But I'm like, this is what Trump sees. This is what he's looking at. This is a very cool way to see the speech. Now, if you're not somebody who does what I do for a living, I think you're infuriated. I get invited to the State of the Union, and what's this? I can't see anything, and this is ridiculous. There's this brass rail, right? There's this brass rail there, and I have like a giant bottle of water. I'll pretend it's the brass rail. And I'm like this. I am delighted. I am tickled by what I am seeing until I start seeing what I'm seeing. Now, I'm going to start somewhere in the middle because I want to be clear that Representative Ilhan Omar called President Trump a sick blank. It starts with the letter F. On the floor while he was speaking. I think he was talking about the Somalis and fraud in Minneapolis. I think that was the moment. She called him a sick blank. She did what she did. It happened. Everyone's talking about the yelling out, and everyone's talking about how they were shouting out and the rest. So we are clear. She called him a sick blank, and those two did not stop squawking. They didn't stop. They didn't get close to stopping. It was Nuts. And for some things, they weren't the only ones. But if any Democrat was trying to listen, you couldn't. And there was one moment where some member of the Democratic Party, I don't know her name. She's turned let's say she's facing this way, right? Facing this way right here. She's turned to face the Republicans to her right. And she is yelling. She's in a full yell. And all I hear is Anna Paulina Luna, who's sitting next to Tim Burchett and Lauren Boebert. So for Congressman Tim Burchett, nice seating. Nice work. Producer Landon, a little something, please, for Representative Burchett. Bravissimo. Well done. Well played. All I hear her say is, turn around. It got loud.
1 minute.
Loud. It was as much as one should be in this place and be like, I can't believe these people are so fortunate they get to do what they do. In this place that we are, in this nation that we have, it is truly awe-inspiring. And this is how they act. I got to admit, that was not cool. So what got said at the State of the Union? What do we take from it? And why does it matter? We should be clear. Democrats had a really bad night. And if Republicans are smart, they'll make it last. This is Tony Katz today.
All clear.
Welcome back, everybody. Tony Katz today. So no, not my normal studio here in Washington, D.C. Thanks to the people at WMAL letting me borrow the studios. I greatly appreciate it. First of all, Kelly, good to see you. Thank you so much for being here. And Susie, so's your mom.
Bird.
And to whoever wrote me, I hope you choke on your cigar. What in the what? If you're going to talk like that, you're going to have to be a Democrat member of Congress. You can't just randomly say things like that. It's very people are just so angry. So unbelievably angry. And I only bring it up, like, I don't talk about it like on the radio show anymore, but I did bring it up here. Let me just remove some of these people. These are the people who will eventually be violent towards you. Just so we're clear. For the sake of clarity, this is exactly how it's going to go down. This is how it's going to happen. Look at Chris Plant. He's a handsome man right there.
1 minute.
Derek Hunter and this Chris. Do you know Chris Plant? Syndicated radio host. He's a decent dude. So he works out of WMAL. Was that right? Hold on a second, guys.
$30.
I gotta see if that's true. I'm gonna have to check that. So should I start doing the show in the suit jacket? Is this more professional? Is this now the look?
It fits the vibe for today. All right, music in 5, stand by. Alrighty, on and up.
Feeling down and dirty, feeling kind of mean.
I am not afraid of AI. I think we should be aware. And there's a real difference in the things. And certainly, I don't ever want to pretend that somehow this all isn't coming. It's all coming. It's all heading down the road. It's all going to hit us directly in the face. Tony Katz today. Good to be with you. I came across this piece about betting against AI. I think it was the Wall Street Journal, that there are people out there trying to short AI stocks. I'm not just talking about Michael Burry. Michael Burry is the guy who the movie The Big Short made famous about betting against the housing market. And he's betting against NVIDIA and Palantir. That's a stock play. That's not my point. That's not what I'm getting at. Rather, I'm discussing whether or not people are betting against AI as a force. Utilization. It was like a story like this, over at the Wall Street Journal, the market's AI obsession is starting to bring out the bears. Well, when you have quite literally trillions of dollars in AI investment, there are going to be people be like, you know what? Overkill. There's going to be a correction. I want in on that. That's standard stuff. I'm asking about people betting against AI. And what I'm really concerned about are politicos trying to thwart AI, because we're already seeing the mob mentality on AI when you see the viciousness against data centers. I am not saying that every city should have a data center. I'm not saying that every state should be a state that is supportive of data centers. I am saying that the mob mentality against data centers is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And it's on the right as well as it's on the left. And it's nonsense. It is all NIMBY, get off my lawn. Everybody who is anti-data center and this mob mentality is nothing more than a Karen upset that they didn't get a second scoop of ice cream or a big enough second scoop at Baskin Robbins and wants to speak to a manager. That's my concern. I'll talk more about it. This is Tony Katz today.
All clear.
Happy to get into it. So wait, you don't want me to wear a suit jacket? So see this? See what's doing right there behind me? That's the problem. Because I move so much. But also this camera here where I'm at is aiming down. Shouldn't do that. But this is really good because I can do this, right? With my setup, my home setup, the camera is in between the monitors. So I'm always looking this way for the monitors. So you always see this side shot of me like this. This is a little more together. And so I kind of kind of dig that, but I'd have to bring the monitor down so the camera can be straight shot because the camera's got to be straight shot. That I think that, I don't know about you. I think this angle. I think this angle sucks. I do. I think it's ridiculous. First of all, I don't think my hair is that tall. It is that stiff. Oh, there was a lot of hairspray. Oh, fun fact about me. I don't like it when my hair moves. I don't I don't color it. I don't care if I go gray. Like none of that matters to me at all. I know some people it matters to them. I don't care in the slightest. I don't care if I go bald. Like I just don't care. What I don't want is a nonstop thinning because I don't think that's an attractive look. But I don't like it when my hair moves. Some people can just like do it and it's kind of like naturally where it is. That's it. I can't handle it. It moves and it falls in my face and then I think it's a vestige from my childhood. Just cannot stand it. So anyway, so this little poof up thing is why I don't like to wear the jacket. But maybe if I wasn't, the camera angle was different, it would show different, and then you could do this like that. Like, just bring that down right there. So the TV trick is you sit on your jacket and then it pulls up because you're not really moving from this spot, sometimes a little bit of turning. But if you tuck the jacket under yourself and you sit on the jacket, it'll really do the work. There it is. And then you're like, my God, look at those shoulders. So broad and strong. And then people openly weep or take a moment to excuse themselves because they're feeling so amorous once they see me. No? Is that not? I thought that was
That's
it.
what I heard.
Yeah, that's what I heard too, producer Landon. Not a comb over, Matt. Not a comb over. How dare you?
1 minute.
How dare you indeed. So we're going to get into more of the State of the Union. What did we see? What did we see? What did you see? How did you take some of the stuff? All of it. And John Thune has said he is going to force a vote on the Save America Act. Forgive me with the casualness for which I take a sip of a bottle of soda. I want to be clear. He's admitting there'll be no vote on it, meaning that it won't pass. Take that back. He's admitting that it won't pass. He's right. But putting Democrats on the record voting against voter ID, that's the kind of thing Democrats would do.
Stand by.
I did not see Nick Shirley at the State of the Union. If he was there, I didn't see him. I know he was there during the day. I know he was doing some other things, but I did not see him.
Alrighty, on and up.
Point. Here with us tonight is a group of winners who just made the entire nation proud. The men's gold medal Olympic hockey team. Come on in.
And the doors open up. And their USA sweaters. And Trump looking over at the Democrats saying, there's nothing you can do to stop me, kitten. What are you out of your mind? This was some seriously loud cheering in the room. It was very cool. Tony Katz today. Good to be here. Good to be with you. if you ask, like I could say his speech went an hour 47 minutes. I would have liked for it to have been shorter. Um, but the purpose and the point of it all was these moments. The Medal of Honor recipients, the Medal of Freedom recipients. Look at these people who fought for us and got wounded for us. Um, let us notice them. The mother of Irina Sarutska, who was stabbed to death on that light rail in Charlotte. The parents of National Guard troops who were shot and killed while patrolling Washington, D.C., and awarding them posthumously the Purple Heart. Trump does an extremely good job of we never forget. But what we are discussing is the idea of rallying around us. That we are good, that we do things that are good, that we remember those who do good, that we celebrate victory, we celebrate strength, we celebrate dominance, we celebrate power, we celebrate decency. We celebrate this American experience and these Americans, and so we should. And what it creates is the massive contrast to a left that despises all of these things and never wants to celebrate and always wants to denigrate these things. This was about uplift. This wasn't just about, hey, come to the White House and bring me a hockey sweater and we'll take a photo. It'd be great. No, this was about, this is American awesome. You know how good America's doing? Gold medal against Canada in overtime. That's how we're doing. And not just the men, the women first. Huge. Celebrate victory. Go right ahead. The left doesn't celebrate victory. The left doesn't celebrate strength. So that was a huge part of this. Here is a U.S., I believe it was an Army captain. I don't want to get the branch wrong. He's 100 years old, and for his service in Vietnam, he's now going to get the Medal of Freedom. The place went nuts. The place went out of its mind. When that took place, there were these two different moments where Trump presented the Medal of Honor. The Medal of Honor. Honor is to the military. Freedom is to civilians. And two people got a Medal of Honor last night. Army Chief Warrant Officer Eric Slover. He got the decoration for how he handled and dealt with things in the capture of Nicolas Maduro. I did not know that helicopters were shot at to the point where people were hit repeatedly. And let me tell you, where I was sitting at the State of the Union, this guy was not there near where the First Lady is, where they usually receive guests and notice people and mention people. No. He was straight ahead of me because he couldn't get through those doors and down those stairs. He needed the landing because he's got the boot. He's in a walker. What you didn't see is you didn't see two generals. Generals helped this guy down from the walker to sit down into his wheelchair where he was wincing in pain. Real pain. It must have been a real pain to stand there on the walker. We have no idea how much he was clearly injured. It was President Trump telling us the story last night. That guy got some applause. But Navy Captain, it was Navy, not Army, Navy Captain Elmer Royce Williams receiving the Medal of Honor. I don't think I heard more applause than that. I don't think there was more applause for anything than that guy who was smiling. I don't know if you can go beyond ear to ear. He's 100, right? He's 100 years old. And here he is with his country saying, "We see you and thank you." It was a moment. And it was, if we're going to engage this politically, which we do, an absolute win on every level for Trump, for Republicans, for America. The left has no way to counter what are actual joy and vibes. You know we're in the narrative season, right? We are in the silly narrative season where the left wants to tell us what it is we're thinking. Try all you want. We've been through this. We're not buying into this anymore. You know what we saw? We saw a U.S. hockey team, guys just starting their lives, celebrating like guys do. And then we saw a guy who could be close to the same age, who took a different path. Didn't play hockey, but put on a uniform. Served his country and almost lost his life. Still can't stand without the use of a walker. Received the honor for putting himself on the line for us. And then we saw that America doesn't forget, with a retired Navy captain who's 100 years old. If you can't understand those visuals and recognize that those visuals connect and recognize that Democrats don't have anything, what are they going to show us? They're going to show us another member of Congress who's a man who claims to be a woman? What possibly are they going to show us? You know, they had programming of the State of the Union. They had a guy in a giraffe costume screaming at everybody. What, you think I can make that up? You think I could ever possibly come up with the words of my own? Yeah, so this guy's wearing a giraffe costume. No, that doesn't happen. If you ever hear me say, so there's this guy in a giraffe costume, you can be rest assured that my next line is, hey, whoa, bring the bong back over here. That's what's happening. So we're all clear. The messaging was knockout stuff. Knockout stuff. And that was the point. Why bring in the family of Irina Zarutska? Because this woman was killed because Democrats won't do anything about crime. Why bring us young girls who were transitioned by schools and then put into a kind of a prison-esque system where she was housed with boys and she was physically abused because adults did this to her? And Democrats support it. Because as we are going to get into, wait till you see what they cheered and what they didn't cheer. It was good messaging. But nothing beat the messaging of, things are going well, right? Now, I will argue that things are not going perfect. I will argue when the president says inflation's down to 1.7%. Big mistake. Don't do that. First, inflation's not down to 1.7%. I don't care what Scott Bessent says. And by the way, in every single conversation I have with anyone who has ever been connected to Bessent, they say what I absolutely believe to be true. Scott Bessent is the adult in the room. That guy is spectacular. I wholeheartedly agree. But don't tell me inflation's under control. Why? Because it's a dumb thing to say when inflation goes up next month. Now you're stuck with those words. We're working every day to bring inflation down, to keep inflation under control, really focused. Now, we think that interest rates should be lower, and shame on Jerome Powell for not helping to spur more economy, and shame on Democrats. And Trump did say this. Why'd they shut down the government? They cost us 2 points of GDP. 2 points of GDP they cost us. Why do you think they're shutting things down with the Department of Homeland Security? They want to hurt the country. Perfectly said line. Perfectly said line. But you bring all these people up to show the divide. First, you bring people up to show America's might, America's success, and America supporting and cheering the might and success. We're not embarrassed by it. We think it's freaking awesome. We like the success. We want the success. We want more success. Go get success. And when we get the success, we're going to say, damn right, we got the success. Now let's go get more success. We're not going to shy away from it. We're not going to hide it away. We're going to cheer like crazy people.
1 minute.
It's a huge part of the speech. And it was well rewarded in the room. The other part of the speech is we're trying to make things better. We're trying to keep people safer. And these horrible things have happened because we're cleaning up the streets, because we're not allowing children to be sexually abused, because we're making rational points of view. We have rational points of view and creating rational policy. Yet here are these Democrats who are okay with children getting hurt, okay with people getting killed on the roads because of illegals with fraudulent commercial driver's licenses. We're trying, but look at how they're in our way. Look at how they're endangering you. And for that connection, that's why the speech is being touted as so dang good. It wasn't so much the words. It was the format, the presentation, and the focus. And man, do I like some focus. I'm Tony Katz, and this is Tony Katz Today.
All clear.
Have to write Congressman Andre Carson a message. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Congressman Andre Carson says survivors deserve accountability. They deserve the truth, not a redacted version designed to protect the wealthy and the powerful. I stand with survivors. Release the Epstein files in full. And so I agree. Please ask Representative Kahana why he brought an Epstein co-conspirator as his guest, because he did. Representative Ro Kahana brought a Epstein known co-conspirator, helped him procure as his guest. I do not know why, but he did. 10,000% did. Precious. Second. Ah,
1 minute.
1 minute. Excellent. So what else? What else did I miss? What else is going on? Oh, wow. Wow. That is a really tough guy comments right there. Man, that's so from Facebook. It's so tough and it's so scary. What am I going to do next? Oh my gosh, you got blocked. How did that happen?
Whoa.
It's like,
30?
what? Huh?
That's weird.
I'm telling you right now, these are the people who I'm convinced when one day I'm attacked, these are the people. It is. And I don't know what's going on the
Music in 5,
chat,
stand by.
but Pete is talking about pastrami Rubens right now, and I yes,
Oh, that sounds so good.
yes.
Alrighty, on and up.
So did you see the video of New York City police officers after the snow, and there's crowds throwing snowballs at them? They're throwing snowballs at these officers. The officers are getting attacked, and here are these people, kids, not kids, throwing snowballs at them. They were gathered in Washington Square Park for a snowball fight. Tony Katz today. And I don't mind a snowball fight. I don't mind it at all. But these guys these officers, they're getting hit, they're getting pelted. They can get hurt. And what does the commie Mamdani say? Mamdani? Is that what I'm now going to call him yet? Is that what I call him now? From the videos I have seen, he says, it looks like kids at a snowball fight. It was an assault. The end was an assault. And now they're looking for tips on suspects. And Mamdani is like, the only person who should be hit with a snowball is me. Our whole city deserves respect. You are part of the defund the police crowd. You are a part of the anti-cop crowd. Cops get attacked by a knife-wielding assailant whom they are called to deal with. The police had to shoot the guy, and then the mayor, Mamdani, visits the knife-wielding suspect and not the cops. What the people have been told is you can attack law enforcement anytime you want and twice on Sunday, and it's going to be okay. By the way, is that true, Susan? Did I miss that part of the story? 2 policemen are in a hospital with cuts to the face and head injuries. Can you give me a link to that? I am not saying you're not telling the truth. I want a link to the story. That's all. I want to be able to back that up. Trust but verify. I appreciate that you appreciate it. And Mamdani isn't saying that's disgusting. We don't treat our cops like that. You have a snowball fight. You have a snowball fight. You don't go attacking cops and hitting them with snowballs. Just stop. Nah. He missed the snowball. Oh, I'm sorry, the softball. This is Tony Katz today.
All clear.
You did? All right, so here's what we've got going on right now. The radio show is in commercial break. So what we will do is we will take the commercial break. Right? So kick back, relax, smoke them if you got them. You got time. Everything is good. Everything is fine. Everything's groovy. And we'll take a little break and we will get back to the show momentarily. Glad you guys are here. Welcome back, Tony Katz. Tony Katz today. Guys, good to be with you. I'm here in Washington, D.C. Was here for the State of the Union and now doing the shows out here. Now, let me ask you a question. I have a chance to get an earlier flight home. I'm coming home today. There's only so much time one should spend in Washington, D.C. And so I think that I can get there in time because I have no luggage to check. Right? Security can always be an issue, but it's midday on a Wednesday. I'm not so sure it'll be bad. But I don't want to go about changing the flight, although I have the ability to change the flight. I don't want to go about changing the flight until I know that I'm going to be able to get there in time to be able to do it. So the question is, I wait, right? Like I have to wait until like I can like leave here
1 minute.
and then try and get there. And if I can get there, I feel in time, then I can change the flight when I'm there. And if I'm not able to change the flight, I get on the regular flight, but now I'm at the airport. Do you see my issue? Basically, I'm saying I can enjoy a little bit of the afternoon and have a cigar and relax before my flight. Or I can head immediately to an airport and see if I can risk it all. That's
30.
my question. That's my question. So I wait, right? I wait. Thank you. You worked it out for me. Thank you, guys. You handled it all. Handled it like a bunch
You're
of
welcome.
champs. You did that great. You did that super duper terrific. So who said rent a car?
Standby.
It's 9 hours back to Indianapolis.
Jeez.
Live from the heartland and the crossroads of America, it's Tony Katz Today.
Alrighty, on and up.
You're seeing a lot in your social media feeds. You're hearing a lot about how the left poorly reacted to the State of the Union. And they did. But it doesn't stop the Chuck Schumers of the world from being very Chuck Schumery.
If anyone watching last night was hoping to hear about how Donald Trump is going to lower their costs and their economic pain, his speech was an anemic dud. So I just Americans who care about the high cost of living, about affordability, which Trump knocks, get a copy of Governor Spanberger's speech. She focused on it like a bullseye.
Did she? The governor of Virginia, who's raising taxes on everybody when this was never a conversation. You ran her as if she was a moderate, and that was all a lie. Now she's the one who understands affordability.
Her speech was so much more in tune with where the American people are at than Donald Trump's.
A political party that believes they are allowed to mutilate children and calls it care doesn't get to lecture to us about being connected to where the American people are at. Tony Katz today. Good to be here. Good to be with you. Find everything I do over at TonyKatz.com. Now, I want to be clear about a couple of things. This is an economic election for Republicans only. It is. For them, it is. They have to be able to show, here's where we brought down this cost, here's where we brought down that cost, here's why you're paying less for gas, paying less for eggs. Now you got to pay less for beef. Beef is, to me, a big one. Once you're doing all those things, by the way, I get all my beef from defiancebeef.com. It's a farm in Indiana, and they butcher to your specifications. You can order the whole cow directly to your table, from the Indiana farm to your table. Defiancebeef.com. I'm not kidding. They're the best. Defiancebeef.com. You can use promo code Eat Drink Smoke. You get $150 off your order on a quarter, half, or full cow. I ordered the quarter was the first one. Next one, I may just do full myself. Just done in the freezer. Grill, delicious. DefianceBeef.com, promo code Eat Drink Smoke. These prices do need to come down. President Trump's argument in the speech, to which Chuck Schumer is trying to pretend did not take place, is that because we have so much fraud, because there is so much fraud, we are seeing outrageous costs here, there, and everywhere. Because we are seeing this, for example, the fraud with Somalis, it's stealing money from us, and because it's stealing money from us, because you have all these things happening, it's costing us more every single day. That's his argument. So Chuck Schumer can pretend that these issues about cost were not brought up, but of course they were brought up. They were brought up in great detail by the president and angrily screamed about by progressives.
When it comes to the corruption that is plundering, it's plundering America. There's been no more stunning example than Minnesota, where members of the Somali community have pillaged an estimated $19 billion from the American taxpayer. Oh, we have all the information. And in actuality, the number is much higher than that. And California, Massachusetts, Maine, and many other states are even worse. This is the kind of corruption that shreds the fabric of a nation, and we are working on it like you wouldn't believe.
Work faster. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not allowed to say that to the president. I never forget. He works for me. He works for me. Work faster. More arrests. How about some Epstein arrests? I want to see a lot of things. I want faster work in a lot of places. But yes, I agree with you, Mr. President. The fraud in Minneapolis is just the start. The fraud in Minnesota is just the start. All these states, all states, dealing with major fraud.
So tonight, although started 4 months ago, I am officially announcing the war on fraud to be led by our great Vice President, J.D. Vance.
JD getting a little bit of love right there.
He'll get it done. Find enough of that fraud, we will actually have a balanced budget overnight. It'll go very quickly. That's the kind of money you're talking about. We'll balance our budget. The Somali pirates who ransacked Minnesota remind us that there are large parts of the world and lawlessness are the norm, not the exception. Importing these cultures through unrestricted immigration and open borders brings those problems right here to the USA. And it is the American people who pay the price in higher medical bills, car insurance rates, rent, taxes, and perhaps most importantly, crime.
Now let's go back to Chuck Schumer saying that President Trump didn't address these things. He just did. Now, if you want to argue that he's wrong about the data, go right ahead. But that isn't what Chuck Schumer said. What Chuck Schumer said is, this is not the speech you're looking for. As if in any way he could be a Jedi. That's Chuck Schumer in this story, if we're doing Star Wars comparisons, is Jar Jar Binks. Just making sure we all understand what's going on here. Or he's that general who gets choked to death by Vader. I don't know who that guy was. But he's one of those two, and I'll let you guys fight it out because you're way more nerdy than me. Chuck Schumer is not engaged in the conversation as you and I are. He wants to change the subject, but it is a very hard thing to do. It's very difficult to change the subject. And as you heard, as President Trump was speaking, you heard these voices in the background. That was the Democrats screaming at Trump. That was Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib. That did not help. Didn't help in the slightest. All you looked was weak. All you look was soft. Like you're missing the moment. And they did. Outlet after outlet after outlet saying Trump really did put on a show. He did engage rhetorically in a very, very well put together way to be able to set the stage to show what it is we are for, meaning Republicans, and what it is Democrats are against. And what they are against is low taxes, because they cheered. Let me say this again for the people in the cheap seats. They cheered a tax increase. They were overjoyed by the tax increase.
Last year, I urged this Congress to begin the mission by passing the largest tax cuts in American history, and our Republican majorities delivered so beautifully. Thank you, Republicans. All Democrats, every single one of them, voted against these really important and very necessary massive tax cuts.
And that's them cheering it.
They wanted.
I want to be clear about something. They stood up and they cheered it. And there I am I'm in the gallery. I'm there at the speech. I'm in the gallery, and there they are standing up cheering tax increases. Now, let's call me a pretty astute political observer, and let's call you a pretty astute political observer. Let's call anybody who's in the gallery a pretty astute political observer, right? There's a reason that they're there. All right, maybe they just got an invite, but there's usually a reason that they're there. Do you think it took a pretty astute political advisor? What do I call myself? Not advisor, observer. Do you think it took a pretty astute political observer to notice that the Democrats were cheering tax increases? Or do you think that everyone noticed that Democrats were cheering tax increases? Cheering.
All Democrats, every single one of them, voted against these really important and very necessary massive tax cuts. They wanted large-scale tax increases to hurt the people instead. But we held strong, and with the great, big, beautiful bill, we gave you no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and no tax on Social Security for our great.
Good job, Republicans. They want to raise your taxes. We're cutting your taxes. You think that's going to go well in an ad piece? You think that's going to play well in some districts that are up for grabs? You think that's going to hurt some upstart Democrats who think they can win on an agenda of hate Trump 24/7, 365? You think it's going to help Democrats when people start asking, well, did you vote for tax increases? You know, Mamdani's already increasing taxes in New York, and that communist said he wouldn't. And now, did you vote for tax increases? It is for just so we are all on the same page, this isn't about whether or not you like Trump. I didn't ask, and I must admit to you that I do not care. I am discussing this as the kind of astute political observer, which you are. Trump wins that fight. Now, if we're going to sit here and say he doesn't win that fight, allow me to help you. You're too much of an ideological freak child to be included in this conversation. Anyone who doesn't understand that Trump wins that argument, that it's a clear victory for the Republicans and a clear, my gosh, what did we just do to ourselves from the Democrats, it can't be denied. Chuck Schumer can try and change the subject, but it's too late. And if you want to argue that Trump didn't win that back and forth, sorry, that's not being a political observer. That is being a toady idolater. Got no time for it. He won that. Republicans won it. They just did. They don't win everything. Trust me, they don't win everything. Do you know how bad? Little cat out of the bag here. Well, you guys know I've got the big event this Saturday. Trump, 1 year and 1 month later. It was supposed to take place, last month, and then we got snowed out, the massive storms that came through, and so we delayed a month, and now here we are. And so I have really rewritten this entire thing. And I have been rewriting on the day of the State of the Union. There I was, cigar in hand. It was a Dunbarton Tobacco and Trust Sakakon, which is a cigar I absolutely love. Connecticut broadleaf, Mexican San Andreas in the binder. That combination to me is just a knockout. The boldness of the broadleaf, and then with a little bit of that cocoa kind of sweet of the Mexican San Andreas. So you're getting boldness, but you're cutting it just enough so it doesn't overwhelm. I think it's beautifully done. And what Steve Sock at Dunbarton does, Dunbarton Tobacco and Trust does in the actual creation of the cigar, the rolling, the construction, out of this world. And I'm there smoking a cigar, and I'm working on this, and I'm rebuilding this. I deleted like 50 pages of this presentation. I'm adding other things in, and I'm talking about these very things. And one of the things that you'll see me talk about on Saturday, tickets.tonykatz.com, is just the horror show of the messaging that Republicans have done since the passing of the One Big Beautiful Bill, which was a terrible name and never got messaged. And weird that Republicans were depending so much on this to have economic successes that they can tout for the midterms.
1 minute.
Finally, they're messaging. And the message yesterday was, we have policies, plans, procedures, and actual proof that we're lowering your taxes. These people are standing up to say, we'll never lower your taxes. Why would you vote for those people? Why do you hate yourself and your kids so much that you would vote for those people? And Chuck Schumer is saying, look at Abigail Spanberger. Wasn't she great? That is not much of a diversion. That's like saying, hey, stop going for the cheerleader. Don't you want to get it with my fat sister? No, we don't. I'm Tony Katz. This is Tony Katz Today.
Also, if you're
I now have people commenting on my fat girls comment. People I never hear from are now texting. Oh, don't forget to send your hate mail to marklevin@yahoo.com. I'll be sure to get it. I will be sure to get it. No, okay. So, Jeff, what if I disagree with you? And I appreciate the comment, right? Interesting take. It looked to me like the Democrats who didn't show up made the correct move. Okay. Should I do that? Should I wait for the show to come back? Because there's a really interesting counter to this that I'm not the first one to come up with, but it is true. And
1 minute.
just something to consider as you're looking at it. You know what? Do you want me to wait? I will wait. I will wait. Give me a moment because I have something I want to hit. And then when I come back to this and three more things, I will get to that. Remind me, producer Landon, to get to that. According to Jeff, he thinks that Democrats who didn't show up made the correct move. And I will explain why I hear you. Here's my counter. Here's my disagreement. Agree or disagree, right? Totally up to you. All right, we're coming back.
Yep, in 10 seconds here. Music in 10. Alrighty, on and up.
FBI involved in a raid on LA school district offices and the home of the superintendent. Huh. I have thoughts. Tony Katz today. What is going on, everybody? Find everything I do over at TonyKatz.com. And don't forget, live streaming on the YouTubes. Just head over to Tony Katz, and we can go from there. And you subscribe, and there's a lot of cool stuff, and things are happening, and you'll fall in love, maybe make a baby. I'm not here to judge. Federal officials in LA serving search warrants as part of an ongoing investigation. This, according to a person familiar speaking on condition of anonymity. No one is saying what the ongoing investigation is. District Superintendent Office not immediately responding to emails and voicemails requesting comments from the Associated Press. His name is Alberto Carvalho. He has been the superintendent of Los Angeles, that's the nation's second largest school district, since February 2022. 24 cities, more than 500,000 students. What is this about? I do not know. You can let the mind wander, but I don't know if it's going to tell us anything. The affidavits are sealed. The agency has no further comment. As Deadline points out, this is as the Los Angeles School Board approved a $250 million, has approved up to $250 million in bonds to settle sex abuse claims. There has to come a moment where people say, okay, done here with the done here with the public schools, right? LAUSD, Los Angeles Unified School District, approved 657 layoffs to partially address a structural budget deficit. Warnings that the district could face insolvency. So is this about sex abuse? This is about financial abuse. There's also an accusation of misusing $76 million in funds dedicated for art and music education. So we'll find out when we find out. I'm Tony Katz.
All clear.
Yes, we will. Yes, we certainly will. So I will tell you that in the mail today, speaking of the event on Saturday, honestly, just get tickets. It's going to be such a party. It's going to be stupid fun. It's good. I will tell you the one thing I have learned from this event and doing this as I did it. I don't do winter events ever again. It's too unpredictable. Weather's too weird, and people have all sorts of concerns. And number two, as awesome as the Hyatt Regency has been to us, and they've been spectacular downtown Indianapolis. I don't think if I'm doing things in the Indy area, I don't think I'm doing things in downtown anymore. I think people have a real aversion to downtown. It's been fascinating to hear people's commentaries and comments. And with that said, we've got a huge crowd. It's going to be amazing. Amazing. But a couple of things that's been like, okay, that's a lesson learned. I gotcha. Thank you for that. Because I'm going to keep doing these events. I've also said I really want to start getting into a history series, smaller scale events. And maybe some, hey, here's the event, and here's the two things that you got to read so you have the primer for what it is we're going to talk about. Like, give people homework, which is a terrible way to have an event. But, like, there's really cool stuff about who we are, and why don't we get into that? Anyway, the moral of the story is in the mail. In the mail today came 200 cigars.
Ooh.
You're welcome. So those got picked up, and yeah. So if I were you, I'd show up. That's all I'm saying. If I were you, I would show up. And these are on me. I need to get a cigar sponsor. Because let me tell you, it was not cheap. Daddy wrote a check. I'm just gonna, or really, I should say, Daddy got some rewards points. I think that's. But does it known that in this situation I am Daddy? That'd be me. Yeah. Just make sure we got that all together. Ooh, don't ask. Do not ask what I spent on cigars. I'm here to tell you it was not a small number. Did you know you can't sue the post office?
Really?
Yeah, I'm going to get into that in my three more things. Can't sue the post office.
Interesting.
I don't know why you can't sue the post office. That's a little weird. How is the market doing right now? Oh, it's up 274. And the NASDAQ is up 257. No, I'm sorry. The Dow is up 292.
30.
Okay. Ooh, maybe a little bit of Epstein fallout. That's always worthwhile. And then Mark, I am a giant tool Ruffalo. There it is.
All right, music in 5, stand by.
All right, coming back.
All righty, on and up.
Three more things I need to get to. These are stories that should be front page news that are not necessarily, although I think they could be. First, let me go back to the State of the Union because producer Landon asked me to get into this. What in the world is with Representative Al Green? Al Green is disgusting, and Al Green is proof that people don't pay attention to candidates. They just take a look at identifying characteristics and vote. You can say this anywhere. You can say this about a lot of people. It's absolutely true about Al Green. Al Green, as President Trump walks by, unfurls a sign. Now, you got to understand that Representative Al Green is the guy who got thrown out of the House chamber last year during the State of the Union. He thinks he's smart. He thinks he's tough. He's gross. It's not that he disagrees. Disagreement is fine. It's that he likes spectacle. He likes spectacle. He wants spectacle. And that's why I say this about Representative Ilhan Omar. Ilhan Omar screamed out at the State of the Union, upset with Donald Trump, and called him a sick blank. Starts with the letter F. She said the words. I was surprised she didn't get kicked out. I saw it. I heard it. I was there. She can deny it all she wants. It happened. I'm going to go to my grave with that. I saw her do it. Al Green unfurls a sign, whoop, like a scroll. And the sign reads, "Black people aren't apes." It's a reference to a video posted by President Trump on his social media feed at Truth Social. And as the video ends, it rolls into another video, and what you see is Barack and Michelle Obama being depicted as cartoon apes. Now, anybody who had done any looking into this knows that there's a video out there. There's a video out there of politicians as members of the jungle community. And then Trump is the lion. He's the king of the jungle. And as the king of the jungle, everybody's bowing down to him. That's what the video is from. It's like it's just rolling into another video, really having nothing to do with President Trump. The video he posted, which was about elections and machines having issues, I thought was ridiculous. You think he decided to post a video where he's going to compare the only black president and his wife to apes? Everybody's insane. I have nothing left to say. It was a dumb video that he posted. It is ridiculous and unfortunate and gross that happened. And most importantly, anybody who then took a look at what's happening here, it's over. Al Green holds up a sign. Black people aren't apes. He should have been physically tossed from the chamber. And I will tell you that some people tried to grab the sign. Steve Scalise tried to grab the sign from him as he's walking behind President Trump because President Trump just dismissed him, walked right by him. And Scalise wasn't able to grab it. Senator Mark Wayne Mullen walked over to Al Green. Mark Wayne Mullen's not a small cat, right? For those of you who listen to the show on KRMG, he did it. And he tried to grab the sign. Oh, I want to know the words that were said. And then after a while, there were seats in front of Al Green, and Senator Mullins, I forget the other senator, moved their seats to stand in front of him. They're going to stand in front of him the whole time. At that moment, somebody else came over and told Al Green that he has to leave. Al Green should have been removed from the chamber by the speaker. It was a miss from the Speaker of the House. He should have done that. He should have done it immediately and set the tone. Well, if you do that, Tony, you're bringing more attention to it. With all due respect, I live in the world of social media. There's already attention to it. That's Al Green. All this talk, Trump racist, Trump sexist, Trump Nazi, Trump destroying democracy, a third assassination attempt. The desire is more assassination attempts. That's their desire. This only goes in one direction. How many more ways do we have to see that these people are desperate to call out a lone wolf? It is what it is, what it is. That's not the only story out there. There's pressure on Representative Tony Gonzalez to resign. Because the story is Representative Gonzalez of Texas, who I know very little about, had an affair with a staffer who later killed herself. So there are Republicans who want him to resign, or at least end his reelection campaign. The resign is a tough one because now Republicans don't have control of the House. There are people who campaigned for him now distancing themselves. So it's NBC News with the reporting in this one. It said the Office of Congressional Conduct is going to send a report to the House Ethics Committee. It's against House's code of conduct for members to have sexual relations with staff members. So that's the story. That there may have been a relationship, an affair that he had with a staffer. And then that woman did she set herself on fire? Is she that woman? I think she's that woman. Regina Santos Avalos. She was a staffer of Tony Gonzalez, and she set herself on fire in her backyard. This is September of 2025. Now, she says she discovered that her estranged husband was romantically involved with her best friend. She died the following morning. Medical examiner rules her death a suicide. The husband blames Gonzalez for contributing to the collapse of their marriage and accused him of an abuse of power. It's really a story here. I'm going to make the assumption that political reality is going to win out, at least right now. That they need to hold on to the House and they're not going to try and move him out. Maybe try and get him to not run for re-election. Maybe. Then there's a story that you can't sue the post office. And I did not know that this was a thing. This is SCOTUS blog. Court holds that the U.S. Postal Service can't be sued over intentionally misdelivered mail. Now, wait a second. We're not talking about when they accidentally put my catalog in the neighbor's mailbox. And I know what you're saying to me, Tony, who still gets catalogs? And I will say to you, I like the Adam and Eve winter collection. No? Yes?
Tell me a second.
Wait, is this why we don't have more syndicated stations? Is this why? Can I get a ruling? Screw it, guys. This is the show we do. This is it. You know what I mean? I don't know what to tell you. I don't know. What this is it. Enjoy. It's a 5-4 decision. So a law that protects the U.S. Postal Service from lawsuits over lost or miscarried mail bars lawsuits over mail that was intentionally misdelivered. And there's a dissent written by Sotomayor, Kagan, Ketanji Brown Jackson, and Neil Gorsuch. She argues that the majority opinion provides the Postal Service more protection from lawsuits than Congress had intended to give it. Quote, it is not the role of the judiciary to supplant the choice Congress made because it would have chosen differently. Well, I would like to see the court live up to that one. But I did not know that there was a law that protects the Postal Service from lawsuits over lost or miscarried mail. But this is different. Intentionally misdelivered? What is this? I'm assuming this is the original script to Goodfellas. They stopped sending the mail altogether. I I do love the arcane, and that is pretty dang arcane. Then there's this. This is a bit of polling. And what does the polling tell us? The polling tells us that if we go back to 2001 and we take a look at the question, how proud are you to be an American? Extremely proud, very proud, moderately proud, only a little proud, or not proud at all. It has 3 lines, a red line for Republican, a kind of greenish grayish line for independents, and a blue line for Democrats. And what you will see is something we talk about all the time. What you will see is that the Republican Party has basically stayed constant somewhere between 87, somewhere between 80 and 100% since 2001, past 25 years. Mostly proud to be an American. Independents went from the 80s down to the 50s. And Democrats went from 87% down to 36%. Why is this graph important? Well, Tony, it tells us exactly the kind of horrible things that are taught in school that make people be un-American. Yes, I will agree with that. But also, what it tells us is everything we've said about the right not changing its position, the left has just gotten further left, is true. There's a right and there's a left, and then there's the center. What has happened is the right hasn't gone far right. The right has been, and the polling shows it, the data shows it exactly where it's been. The left has gone further left. So the center has seemed more right. So the center has to now come to the center, which has moved more to the left. And therefore, people who have stayed right where they are now called the far right, because look how far the left has moved the center. That'll blow your mind. That's exactly what's happened. Let me answer a question about whether or not Democrats were right not to show up to the State of the Union. That comes up next. Keep it here. I'm Tony Katz, and this is Tony Katz Today.
All clear.
Welcome
Awesome,
back,
man.
everybody. Tony Katz. Tony Katz today. We're still deciding whether I change my flight. Still deciding whether I do just that. I may see how quickly I can get to the airport and then see if I can change it on the fly. It's not that it matters. I mean, I can get home later. It's not going to ruin anything. It's just, you like the idea of being home. What happens when Democrats go far, far left? Mamdani, Ocasio-Cortez. Bernie Sanders gets his way. You have gone Reich and you support a fascist. That's it. Tell the Jewish kid he's gone Reich. You're so tough and brave. This is the kind of talk that gets people to understand that all you want to do is start killing people you disagree with. There's no value to this. There's no engagement here. There's no truth here. You don't have anything. You have this. All you want is to see people killed. You're not okay with disagreement. You want people to die. Could you stop? Could you stop? Stop being this person. Stop denigrating the Holocaust. Stop using 6 million dead Jews as your political prop. You don't have to be that guy. You can disagree with me and not be this guy. You don't have to like Trump, but you don't have to be this guy. Why can't you be better? Why can't you be somebody who doesn't use the murder, the genocide of 6 million people as your political prop? Why can't you do better? Simple question. Just be normal for 5 minutes.
1 minute.
I'm asking too much. I know. All you can do is try in this world, kitten. All you can do is try. Coming back in 1 minute. I'm curious about this FBI raid in LA, right? Like that's
30.
Don't we want somebody give me information? Somebody tell. By the way, I think Kira must have brought it up, and I appreciate Kira filling in yesterday. This Candace Owens, she's going to do an expose on Erica Kirk. She's just trash. That's all.
Didn't she say yeah, I'll leave her alone?
Yeah, Candace said that she'd leave her alone, but Candace is a liar.
Chick is nuts.
She's just gross. If you follow her, I don't know what to do with you.
Alrighty, on and up.
President Trump wanting to do away with insider trading for members of Congress. And what you had screaming from Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib and a bunch of Democrats, you do that too. Well, how about nobody do that? How about we cheer it and say nobody do that? No insider trading. That's a great idea. Let's get that done. Tony Katz today. Good to be with you. I was asked a question. And it was a question about the Democrats who didn't show up. Right? A bunch of Democrats decided that they were going to boycott the State of the Union. They look pathetic. Weak, sad, pathetic. These are truly, truly some beta male people. But someone said that it seems to them that, here it is. Jeffrey, it looked to me the Democrats who didn't show up made the correct move. And my point to you is I understand that as a immediate response, right? Almost a reflexive response. Better to not be there at all. Let me give you a counter and just see whether you agree with it or disagree with it. The counter is by not being there, you made the Democratic Party look weak because they couldn't mount any defense. They had no strength in voice. They only had half their voice. They were missing 70 people. By not being there, President Trump was able to truly overwhelm. They sounded like petulant little children. They sounded like teenage girls upset that they didn't make the cheerleading squad. That's what they sounded like. And that's not a look that as a political party you want. You don't seem like a strong opposition when you do that. So you can argue they shouldn't have shown up. It was probably better they didn't show up. But what happened, therefore, is that the ground and the landscape was ceded to President Trump to do with what he chose. And he did with it. That's I was not the first person to bring up that take. But I think that take is accurate. Really, really is. And there is much more to break down from this State of the Union. And I'm going to share more stories from what I saw. I gave you some of it as we continue from D.C. More to get to. I'm Tony Katz. Find everything at TonyKatz.com. And this is Tony Katz Today.
All clear.
You guys are pretty great. And I appreciate you dearly. And I'm thrilled that you're part of the show day in and day out. Can't thank you enough for being here and for doing this. And it's all pretty great. So I'm going to fly back. And then we'll be back to it tomorrow. That's all there is. I hope to see you. Tickets.TonyKatz.com. The radio show continues at WIBC.com. So you're going to want to listen to it there. Go listen to it. But subscribe on YouTube and follow at TonyKatz.com. And I'll catch you tomorrow, everybody. All right? I'm going to go fly safe. You take care.